Well, time again to check in on what's going on in the Shelton School District with Superintendent Wyeth. Jessee, how are you this July? We're moving into August already.
Doing well.
It is,
Nice to talk to you, Jeff.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
always nice to talk with you. We've got ourselves a little better than a month or so. People are going to start gathering. There's back to school events that families are able to start keying in on. The schools are getting ready. We saw the video there on the facilities that we put together on what's happening in the summer as Robert Heron and the facilities crew, they got a lot of stuff to do and not a lot of time to do it.
Yes, or a lot of resources to get it all done.
Yeah.
Some of the things are really expensive. We have some, in particular, I know not in that particular interview, but we have some heat pumps that we need, and they're about 20 grand a piece. So a couple of those, 40 grand is a lot of money.
It is, especially as the last time we talked, it was just on the heels of some information coming down the pipeline from the federal government. Well, I think I had read some of the stuff that we talked about had changed. Do you have any updates on that?
Yeah, they released the funds. So they said they were withholding it, and then that they weren't going to give it, and then they told them that they're going to release it. And I think there was just some pressure, bipartisan pressures that happened through some U.S. senators. That's basically what I read, that help push that to say, yeah, release the funds. So we got some funds back. How much exactly, I don't know. I just actually, Chris Reithel, Superintendent of Public Instruction, sent an email just yesterday saying, I don't have exact numbers right now, but when we know, you'll know. So we're just waiting for updates.
And again, across the state too, the budget issues are very tight for a lot of the school districts, and the state in general. I mean, it's not like the state has flush with cash that it can just start doling out to districts that above and beyond what's already promised.
No, there's no secret pot of money hanging out there for anyone. Any other agencies, excluding school districts, but for school districts, it's so different. I was reading a thing about universities, and they can take loans even if they need them. Districts don't do that. We got to run with what we have budgeted year in, year out.
And I was talking with the new superintendent at North Mason School District, Dr. Christine Michael. She's new to town from Ohio. I think she started just at the beginning of the month, so she's still kind of understanding the community, but she kind of came in as well as Shelton and many other districts in some tough financial straits. They had just had their levy over the winter that did not pass, and so they're contemplating that. There's, again, conversations in the Shelton School District to look at this issue again for upcoming voters. And especially now, it's important, I think, for folks to really understand where the deficits are across the district, and it's pretty much across the board.
Yeah. I mean, just listening to you, Jeff, I mean, it sounds like a big, gray cloud hovering over public education, especially fiscally. But at the same time, like we still have kids coming.
Yeah.
Economic viability of any community is really dependent on public schools to do their job. And Shelton, we've been doing a really good job of decreasing discipline, increasing reading scores, increasing ninth grade on track. Kids are really growing, with whatever means we have. It just makes the job, able to reach all those kids and all the needs. Eventually we can't provide the same level of services. And I know the new superintendent at North Mason, I'm sure, they had to make a number of cuts to, what athletics are they going to offer, and what are some of the related services that they can provide. Those things are the things that happen for school districts just like North Mason or Shelton when you don't have as much money. And so people are like, wait, what happened to that?
Right.
So not everyone sitting here following all the news for education. It's just really critical that people do understand, hey, less dollars, less be able to provide some of the services that I think people call basic ed.
How do you then promote all those good things that you were talking about, the decrease, and what do you attest a lot of that to? Because you hear stories, and I'm sure since you're kind of on the front lines, you hear more and more about these stories about kids and the parents of kids and how disciplinary behaviors have over the last so many years really shifted and changed and putting a lot of pressure on the teachers and the para-educators and things like that.
Well, first and foremost, Shelton School District's outpaced every other school district in Washington State for the last 3 years for third grade literacy. So we've had more growth for our third graders than any other district, 300 districts, Jeff, in the last 3 years for third grade.
Well, that's wonderful.
So when I say, it's not just a superintendent getting up there, they're just like telling a story. This is what we've been about. That's the kind of work that we're trying to get results with. Our educators are working hard. They've been planning. They've been going to professional development. They've been leading in to know each and every student's story, strength, and need. They've been adapting. School leaders have been making sure that they're there to problem solve with their staff and with the students and families to get there. That's how all of these things happen. It's been a lot of work, really good results. And so I think that's a big, huge celebration to, our staff and the students especially. They're working hard. Nothing's better, Jeff. You get inside the school, sometimes there's nothing better to sit there and watch these kids just get excited about learning.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing because the growth for literacy across the United States has actually been flat since COVID. So Shelton's just even that much more of an outlier, not only in the state, but across the nation, and just growth for early literacy, because that's a foundational skill. Reading and writing gets these kids ready for the middle grades. You have to have them. If you have to intervene at the middle grades, it's really hard and expensive because, if you didn't get them early, then you need to have smaller class size. You have to have after school programming. That gets to be expensive. And then in high school, you want to make sure kids are getting credits. When kids don't get credits, they fail a class. That is when you have to offer more services, get them credits. That also too becomes not a very efficient or effective model, right?
Right.
So that's why, this district and every, other district, that's why everybody keeps saying, hey, early literacy, that's really critical so they can learn to read, not only just reading and math, but they have science, history, they have their CTE classes. Those require also that same skill set.
So some of those third graders 3 years ago now are going into the middle school program, like you were saying. I mean, if you're following the timeline on these. And so how you mentioned it a little bit, but go into this a little bit more. I'm interested to know how this benefits the science part of the things, the math, all the other aspects, not just being able to read a book at level.
Yeah. Well, one only has to go to the doctor to start to, how do you say that?
Right. read ingredients on the back of a...
Yeah, exactly. Anything you eat, like you go to the doctor, you're trying to figure out what are these symptoms, and some of the scientific vocabulary is just outstanding, but that's why, you need to be able to break down, the syllables and most certainly each parts of language to be able to comprehend, what is being said and what can I do to better myself. And so the science is challenging, but if you don't know how to read and comprehend and write notes, that's going to catch up to you.
And then what does that do too to the social emotional, just being able to be engaging with your peers, sure. I guess.
Well, simple common sense. If you don't know how to read and write at grade level and you start getting in those middle years where you're simply embarrassed because of something that you're forced to wear an outfit for, or that your parent dropped you off in front of the school instead of a block away, those sometimes are you're really embarrassed because how are you going to engage in learning? And right. So those kids struggle sometimes because they're going to entertain themselves. That could be between pulling out a phone, getting in an argument, or just not coming to school. And those are those challenges that I know districts face, and that we're trying to address through not only literacy skills but also something engaging. Our educators have done an outstanding job this last year. It was something we really worked hard on, as structures and routines in the classroom, so the kids know what they not only expect, but they also have ways to empower their own voice. And so those are some of the moves that we do in the district here that just led to better engagement of our kids and ultimately, obviously, their learning.
Back to School Festival is on August 22nd at Olympic Middle School. So they'll not only be able a chance to see their cohorts and their peers as we get ready to come back, but there's opportunities for folks who maybe can't afford free backpacks with school supplies, vendors, and resources as well. You've been doing these for a few years now.
Yeah. Been doing it since I got back to the district, and it's 800 people lined up outside waiting to get in and get moving. It's a great event for our families. We want to make sure that all of our students are ready to go, that some of the basics like having obviously a backpack, but also if there's any other like childcare that they have, getting their transportation established, any other activities they need to be a part of, that we can make those connections with them and then along with our partners in the community.
Shelton Promise, is that going through this next school year?
Yes, it is. So Shelton Promise is again at Evergreen State College. If you graduate this next year from the Shelton School District, you can go tuition free to Evergreen State if you meet their criteria for acceptance. We had, I believe, 50 plus students get accepted and plan to attend there this next year, who graduated this year. And then, like I said, anybody who graduates this upcoming, 25, 26 school year, they too can apply and get accepted. It's tuition free, and then reduced all their expenses are based on their income level. So great. It's amazing.
On the back to school event, is there information for younger kids? I'm looking at the Early Learning Center and what is available there for parents.
Yeah, it's well staffed. We have staff from all of the schools as well as district office who are there at the event, can answer any question that anybody has. And we also have interpreters in case English is not their primary language.
School board meetings continue through the summer here. There's the surplus sale that's coming up soon, and the next school board meeting looks to be on the 26th. How are those attended in the summer? About the same?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's always hard to tell because I think a lot of people view them online. Recently about the viewership online. Usually things get a little bit more quiet all around for the summer. Jeff.
Yeah.
You know that. So, but things will speed up. There's a lot of activity. As you mentioned, it's a levy year. The levy's in February. It's a huge deal. That's $8 million every school year plus $2 million. If you pass it, $2 million is matched by the state. So it's ultimately, you don't pass it, you also have minus another $2 million for an $83 million budget. So that'll be a big year. Lots of activities. We'll be showcasing a lot of things that our staff and students are doing like we did last year. And I'm really excited about this upcoming school year.
Well, we'll check in again as we get closer to the back to school event, but that's always a good one for sure. And I know that folks are working in the district office to make all these plans and things going. Well, if you haven't seen the video with Robert Heron, facilities director, on kind of what goes on during the summer and what they all look at, because that again is another, you're right, can be, well, he mentioned it in there based on some of the environmental updates in the A building, if the budget, it could be just a killer on the power bill and the electric bill, and that all kind of has to come out of the overall budget, right? Again, explain that a little.
Yeah, so that's right. That $83 million is the budget. There's no slush fund anywhere else to come in and cover the expenses. So if you have like a boiler breakdown, which is over $100,000, you've got to generate those monies. So you have to plan for surprises. They get difficult because if you go on that and you find something like asbestos, you have to also pay for that additional removal. Mm-hmm. So, and anybody knows from you're trying to manage your own, fixing things around your own home. One thing can lead to another, and then you're short. But in the last 3 years, the state, it's our expenses for maintenance and operations, which include utilities, has been $4 million short from what the state gave us. So our maintenance and utility and operations expenses were $4 million more than what the state afforded us, or what they plan to give us, the Shelton School District, for those costs. And so those do have to come out of somewhere. So everything just keeps gets more expensive. It just adds up all around for, us and other school districts. That's why I look around at other districts, and they're also get panicked when they have to, do maintenance or fix things. It's been a big topic.
And again, it's not like you here at the Shelton School District or any school district really is, trying to get extra money out of the state above and beyond what you have raised. I mean, that's where your money comes from. That, in addition to the support from the voters in the levy district. But that's it. That's where your money comes from. You can't raise prices on per student. I mean, you have to allow students to come to school and things like that.
Yeah, you take whatever you got coming to you, you plan the best you can for it, and then those expenses. But if the revenue that the state provides us to operate a district doesn't meet those same expenses that increase due to inflation, then, like you said, you have to pull it out of that budget. And then eventually you get into a place like us, where you're like, we don't have any more money. We've run through the savings. There's just no more to cover all those expenses. And so that's where we're in a position of having to reduce some of our staff in order to meet, to pay all those basic things that I know you mentioned and Robert mentioned is, you got to pay the water, sewer, garbage, and power. That bill comes every month, and we gotta pay it.
There is more information that if folks can look into more on this on the Shelton website, sheltonschools.org, under departments and the finance office tab there. You can see a whole bunch of information, as well as kind of some of the struggles that other districts are having across the state through various news articles. We'll continue to chat with Superintendent Jessee here in the Shelton School District as we move forward to kind of make sure people are up to date on what's happening in the district right around the city of Shelton. So again, thank you for your time, and we'll see you back in the classrooms here before too long.
Yeah, I can't wait to get the next school year started and see our students and all the things that their amazing qualities and skills that they have.
Well, next time we'll focus on that and kind of the excitement of the first day, and not only from a student's kind of what from the student's perspective, but you and the teachers and just the office in general. It'd be kind of nice to get things kicked off on a fun note.
Yeah, it will be definitely a fun note.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jeff.